Here are the 12 fastest 70 Chevrolets over the quarter mile. Number 12, 1974 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, quarter mile run in 15.2 seconds. This was the last year for the Z28 package on the Camaro. This bundle would not appear on a Camaro until 1977. This MY also saw the Camaro getting a notable visual overhaul as well. The front fascia flaunted the grille's curved design, and the taillights were now full width. The Z28 package added more performance and handling upgrades to the Camaro. The 350 cubic inch V8 was loaded with a cross-ram intake manifold, high-lift camshaft, and a transistorized engine. The suspension was also upgraded with stiffer springs, shocks, and a heavy-duty steering setup. The front brakes were power discs, and the wheels and tires were upsized to 15 inches. The cooling system was also upgraded with a temperature-controlled fan. All these upgrades came together to make this one quick Chevy, with the 1974 Camaro Z28 doing the 0 to 60 run in 8 seconds flat. '70 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 454, 15 seconds. The C3 generation Corvette is the longest-running model of the nameplate. Among the plethora of Corvette C3 models, it is the 454 V8-equipped ones that stood out in terms of performance. This engine was technically a longer-stroke version of the 427 V8 that it replaced. The iconic LS6 V8, which produces 390 horses, is made of a standard cast-iron block housing a forged steel crankshaft. It also had cast-iron cylinder heads and a high-performance GM hydraulic lifter camshaft. Thanks to all of these bits, this slippery Corvette, with its 500 pound-feet of torque, could do the 0 to 60 run in a sweet 7 seconds. '70 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS 14.9 seconds. The Monte Carlo is a very rare 70s Chevy that was produced in just 2 years. Of the many engine options, the one with the SS package was the most enticing. A 360 horsepower LS5 was beastly for the time. In fact, it would be apt to call the Monte Carlo SS a very fine sleeper car of the 70s. With an uprated engine compression of 10.25 to 1, a quadrajet 4-barrel carburetor, and a sporty hydraulic lifter camshaft, this Chevy packed even more power than the iconic 389 GTO. The result of numerous performance upgrades under the hood and other bits like the tires, brakes, suspension, and steering was a sleeper Chevy that could do 0 to 60 in 7 seconds and hit the quarter mile in under 15 seconds. Number 9, 1973 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 350L82, 14.9 seconds. This engine was introduced in the Corvette in 1969. While it may be smaller than the more popular 427 V8, the 350 V8 has balanced performance and curb weight. Despite having just 250 horses, the '73 Corvette Stingray 350L82 does 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds, and the quarter mile comes up in a then impressive 14.9 seconds. These swift performance figures are courtesy of a clever set of hardware combinations, the most notable of which include its close ratio 4-speed manual gearbox. This helps it run short sprints very efficiently and ferociously. Compared to the 427, the 350 V8 also gets thicker bulkheads, firmer crankshaft clamping with longer washerhead bolts, and an improved cooling system. '73 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 454 14.7 seconds. The LS4 is quite a special Corvette V8 option, and it is recognized for being more robust than the LS5s, despite its milder camshaft and improvements on the emission front. It is rated at 275 horsepower and was way cheaper than the LS5s. The price-to-performance ratio was quite enticing. However, despite their ability to do 0 to 60 in a swift 6.4 seconds, these engine-equipped Vettes were the least ordered in 1973. Also, the subtle visual overhaul might greatly improve the '73 Corvette's aerodynamic efficiency. The iconic nose got longer by about 2 inches and heavier as well. It added about 35 pounds, but was to cater to that year's federal mandate for a 5-mile-per-hour impact-absorbing bumper. The C3 Corvette's design had a major role in its performance numbers, which are shown here. 1971 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 350 LT 1, 14.6 seconds. The '71 Corvette was offered with a standard 350 V8 that churned out a healthy 270 horses. But the meaty option was its LT1, which has also helped the 350 LT1 V8 earn the ultimate small block Corvette tag. This was basically a performance upgrade for the 360 V8. The power figure bumped to 330 horsepower. Notable upgrades with this package include a heavy-duty 4-speed gearbox, a high-rise aluminum intake system, a huge Holley carburetor, and finned aluminum rocker arm covers. On the exterior, the hood has a distinctive bulge to accommodate the high-rise intake system, which also became a design element to distinguish the LT1 from its counterparts. Apart from engine and gearbox tweaks, the '71 Corvette LT1 also has a long travel suspension and a heavy-duty rear axle, among many other bits. All of these Lego blocks came together to help this Corvette hit 0 to 60 in an impressive 6-second flat. 1973 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 454 LS4, 14.4 seconds. This is the exact car that is listed in a few entries earlier, but the major difference here is that it gets a close ratio manual gearbox, and that makes all the difference when it comes to acceleration times. While the 0 to 60 time is just marginally better, with an edge of 0.1 seconds, the quarter-mile run matters. The close ratio stick-shift gearbox on the 454 LS4 helps shave off 0.3 seconds. This is notable because we are comparing two manual gearboxes, the function of which is equally dependent on the driver. And for Chevy to shave off a few tenths of a second by tweaking the gear ratios is impressive, to say the least. 1971 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 454 LS5, 14.2 seconds. The LS5 engine occupied a sweet spot between the less powerful LS4 and the top-spec LS6 V8s. The design and other bits, including the LS5, mainly were carried over from 1970, the last year for the unhinged LS5 V8s. The fuel intake system was a single 4-barrel carburetor setup that smoothed things out when offering uninterrupted acceleration. The result was a 70s Corvette that kept pushing the bar with a 0 to 60 of under 6 seconds. Other notable components that assist this V8 in achieving impressive acceleration figures include a 4-speed manual transmission, 4-wheel independent suspension, and a slippery shark design. Number 4. 1970 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 LT1, 14.2 seconds. This Camaro Z28 is a prime example of how unhinged Chevy was during the early 1970s. It is much quicker and more powerful than the '74 Camaro Z28, which is listed high up on this list because of its LT1 V8 engine. Yup, this bumblebee has the same fire-breathing heart as the Corvette of the time. This car was hot on the tail of the 1970 Ford Mustang Boss 302 in the Trans Am Championship. The 1970 MY also got a design overhaul with a larger rear spoiler, a smaller front grille, larger headlights, a wider hood without the scoop, and a tweaked rear bumper. While the 4-speed manual gearbox helped the LT1 Z28 Camaro be marginally quicker in its 0 to 60 run, the 3-speed auto helped it excel in quarter-mile runs. Number 3. 1971 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 454 LS6, 13.8 seconds. This was the pinnacle of Corvette V8s in the 1970s. The LS6 used the same block as the LS5 and even had the same engine displacement. However, the new for 1971 LS6 utilized an aluminum head, and the pistons were domed to help achieve a higher compression ratio of 9:1. This engine was actually a detuned version of the shelved 460 horsepower LS7 V8 that was planned for 1970. Chevy utilizes the best of this canceled engine to create the best classic big block V8 in a Corvette. The result was a 425 horsepower Vette that could do 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and hit the quarter-mile mark in under 14 seconds. '70 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454, 13.8 seconds. The SS 454 V8 was a new addition to the Chevelle engine lineup in 1970. This was to help Chevy make the most of the displacement ban that GM lifted at the time. This was basically the LS5 engine, but had a lot more power than it would have in the upcoming '71 Corvette. It packed an 800 CFM Holley 4-barrel on an aluminum manifold, solid lifters, forged steel crank and connection rods, forged aluminum pistons, and deep groove accessory pulleys. This was as exotic as '70s American big block could get. All of these high-endurance components helped this engine sustain a high compression ratio of 11.25 to 1. The result of all these bits was a sleeper car that could do 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds and was a serious quarter-mile monster with a time of under 14 seconds. .5 Chevrolet Corvette, Stingray 427, 13.8 seconds. The quickest quarter-mile Chevrolet of the 70s actually barely made it to the 70s. The Corvette 427 didn't survive after 1970 and was sold in limited numbers for the first half of the year to clear off the stock. To clarify, the 427 wasn't offered on the 1970 Corvette, but since it was sold to consumers that year, we couldn't bear to skip this fierce Corvette for its impressive acceleration numbers. Many muscle cars crept into the next decade in sales despite officially being discontinued. But the 427-equipped Corvette is very special and deserves this sneak. This big-block Chevy could outrun each of its competitors. It was rated at 435 horsepower from the factory, but like all other muscle cars of this era, it was greatly underrated. Car and driver stated that the figure was well over 500 horsepower. We aren't surprised by this, as a 0 to 60 time of 5.3 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 13.8 seconds require such brawn. The 454 V8 replaced the 427 V8 and also got the LT1 package from 1970, but the power figures never surpassed the 427's 435 horsepower mark.